Well, good morning, everyone, and happy Monday. My name is David Wicks. I'm Vice President of the NASDAQ OMX Group, and it is truly my great pleasure to welcome the Waterkeepers Alliance and its President, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., and its Executive Director, Mark Yagi. Let me also extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests to NASDAQ. We're excited, and it's hard to get excited on a Monday, but the futures are up. But we're excited you could all join us right here from the crossroads of the world in Times Square, New York, as we get set to ring today's opening bell. Now, I know there's a lot to celebrate this morning, as just this month, the Waterkeepers Alliance around the globe are celebrating the 40th anniversary of the Clean Water Act, and I think that deserves a big round of applause. Congratulations. The Waterkeepers Alliance is an advocacy organization dedicated to preserving and protecting water from polluters, and it is the fastest growing environmental movement in the world. The Waterkeepers patrol and protect rivers, bays, lakes, and streams on 6 continents, more than 1.5 million square miles of watersheds in boats ranging in size from kayaks to research vessels. Waterkeeper, a nonprofit organization, is the leading voice for the world's waters with roots dating back to 1966, when a concerned group of commercial and recreational fishermen mobilized to reclaim the Hudson River from polluters. Their tough, hands-on, community-oriented brand of environmental activism and the miraculous recovery of the Hudson River inspired 200 other individual and organizations to launch Waterkeepers across the globe, from the Mississippi to the Amazon, to the Tigris to the Ganges, to fight in their communities for the universal right to swimmable, drinkable, and fishable water. Bobby and Mark, congratulations on all of Waterkeepers' success. We're honored to share today's opening bell with you all. And now it is my pleasure. Please join me in welcoming Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. and Executive Director Mark Yagi. Gentlemen.
Thank you, everybody. I want to thank the board of directors and the many, many keepers who have joined us today. As David said, this movement actually began on the Hudson River. We are on an island in the Hudson right now, and it was started by a blue-collar coalition of commercial and recreational fishermen back in 1966 who saw that they needed to reclaim the Hudson from its polluters. They saw that the polluters who were getting away had the resources to capture the agencies that are supposed to protect Americans from pollution, and if they wanted the Hudson clean, that they were going to have to do it themselves, and they used laws like the Clean Water Act to clean up the Hudson on its own. But one of the things that bound Waterkeepers together is this notion that we're not protecting the environment so much for the sake of the fishes and the birds. We're protecting it for our own sake because we recognize that nature, and particularly our waterways, is the infrastructure of our communities. That if we want to meet our obligation as a generation, as a civilization, as a nation, which is to create communities for our children that provide them with the same opportunities for dignity and enrichment and prosperity and good health as the communities that our parents gave us, we've got to start by protecting our environmental infrastructure, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the wildlife, the fisheries, the public lands, those things, those assets that are not susceptible to private property ownership, but by their nature are the assets of the entire community, what we call the commons or the commonwealth, the shorelines, the rivers, the landscapes that connect us to our past, to our history, that provide context to our communities, and that are the source ultimately of our values and our virtues and our character as a people. Now, I'm here at the NASDAQ, and it would be wrong for me not to bring up one more point, which is this mantra that you hear from the big polluters and their indentured servants in our political process and sometimes in the news media, who often say that we have to choose between economic prosperity on the one hand and environmental protection on the other. And that is a false choice. In 100% of the situations, good environmental policy is identical to good economic policy. If we want to measure our economy, and this is how we ought to be measuring it, based upon how it produces jobs and the dignity of jobs over the generations, over the long term, and how it preserves the value of the assets of our community. If, on the other hand, we want to do what the polluters are urging us to do, which is to treat the planet as if it were a business in liquidation, convert our natural resources to cash as quickly as possible, have a few years of pollution-based prosperity, we can generate an instantaneous cash flow. And the illusion of a prosperous economy, can make a few people rich by making the rest of us poor. But our children are going to pay for our joyride. And they're going to pay for it with denuded landscapes and poor health and huge cleanup costs that are going to amplify over time and that they'll never be able to pay. Environmental injury is deficit spending. It's a way of loading the costs of our generation's prosperity onto the backs of our children. And one of the things that we've all done, all the keepers, the 200 keepers, many of whom have shown up today, for the past 30 years, is to constantly go around and confront this argument that an investment in our environment is a diminishment of our nation's wealth. It doesn't diminish our wealth. It's an investment in infrastructure, the same as investing in telecommunications and road construction. It's an investment we have to make if we're going to ensure the economic vitality of our generation and of future generations. So I want to thank all the Waterkeepers who came here today, again, our board of directors, but especially Hertz and Toyota, who've been our partners and our supporters for a long period of time and have allowed us in many ways to continue to work the work of protecting America's waterways and waterways across the planet. And I want to thank today NASDAQ. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, if you don't stop clapping, we won't be able to open the market. Bobby and Mark, thank you so much for joining us. The environment is near and dear to NASDAQ's heart. I don't know if everyone realizes we're actually in one of the cleanest green buildings in the city. It's something that we take very seriously. It's an honor to have you both here to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Clean Water Act, to celebrate all the good work of Waterkeepers Alliance. And this morning, I'd like to present you both with the NASDAQ opening bell crystal. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.